Ibn Arabi says, the eye does not merely look, it leaks the state of the soul. In 1 second, a gaze can reveal hunger, fear, vanity, love, or surrender. Stay here, and you will learn the first signs that separate a guarded face from a truthful heart in real life. Most people think reading eyes is magic. It is not. It is watchfulness. The eye moves before the mouth can prepare its lie, and that is where the first truth appears. This is the eye that is always reaching. It does not rest on a person. It searches for them. It scans for use, weakness, praise, safety, advantage. You feel this gaze before you understand it. Something in you tightens. The person may smile. Their words may sound kind. But their eyes do not meet you as a soul. They meet you at the door. Ibn Arabi teaches that forms in the world are not empty. They carry meanings. The eye reveals which meaning rules the heart at that moment. When desire rules, the gaze becomes a hook. It grabs before it greets. This person often lives in quiet hunger, not only for money or beauty, hunger for status, hunger for control, hunger for being seen, hunger for proof that they still matter. That hunger enters the eyes in small ways. The look lands fast, then measures. It stays alert, but not peaceful. It wants to know what can be taken, gained, or used. Even affection becomes a kind of reaching. You may see this in someone who flatters too quickly. You may see it in someone who listens only until your answer becomes useful to them. Their eyes seem awake, but not present. Sharp, but not deep. The trap here is simple. The soul says, I must secure my place. I must get something before I lose something. So the gaze becomes a net. The person does not even know they are doing it. They think they are strong, smart, and aware. But the eye gives them away. A seeking eye cannot truly witness. It can only collect. It cannot honor mystery. It can only ask, what does this person mean to me? This is why some people leave you feeling reduced. You were not seen. You were assessed. And you must be careful here. Do not use this teaching to judge strangers in 1 second and feel superior. That would only make your own eye sick. The point is not to condemn. The point is to notice which force is speaking through the gaze. The exit from this state begins when wanting loosens. A person must learn to look without trying to possess, to meet without reaching, to listen without hunting. The heart softens first, then the eyes stop grabbing. When you meet a soul ruled by talab, by restless seeking, you feel pressure. Even their silence asks for something. That is the first sign. This is the eye touched by hidden fear, not loud fear. Don't panic. A finer fear. The fear of being exposed. The fear of being known. The fear that if someone looks long enough, the mask will split. This gaze often breaks too soon. It comes forward, then pulls back. It wants contact, but cannot stay. It looks at your face, then escapes to the floor, the wall, the hands, the air. Not from humility, from inner trembling. What does it feel like inside this person? It feels like standing guard over a secret wound. They move through life with a quiet brace in the chest. They expect judgment before it arrives. They expect rejection before anyone speaks. So the eyes learn a strange habit. They check for danger first. They do not enter a meeting as a presence. They enter as a defense. Ibn Arabi's path is sharp here. He does not ask you to stare at appearances like a fortune teller. He asks you to see where the soul is contracted and where it is open. A shaken eye comes from contraction. The person is pulled inward by fear. Who lives here? Often good people, sensitive people, people who have been mocked, betrayed, handled roughly, or forced to hide their truth too early. Their eyes are not hard because they are evil. It is unstable because safety left them. That matters. Some eyes do not avoid because they are false. Some eyes avoid it because they are tired of being hurt. But there is still a trap. The soul begins to worship hiding. It says, if I stay unreadable, I stay safe. If I never let my gaze settle, nobody can enter. This feels wise. It feels protective. It even feels spiritual sometimes. But it becomes a prison. You see this when a person speaks honestly with words, yet their eyes still ask, is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? They have not yet come out of the inner shelter. The comfortable lie here is this: distance will save me. But distance also starves love. It starves trust. It starves prayer. A heart cannot fully turn to God while always flinching from being seen. The exit is not performance. It is not forced eye contact. It is aman, inner safety. The person must stand before God more than before people. When that happens, the eye steadies. It no longer begs the room for permission to exist. So now you know the difference between two dangerous looks. One reaches to take. The other retreats to survive. From the outside, both can seem guarded. But the soul inside each one is not the same. And the third gaze is harder to spot than both. It can look calm. It can look polished. It can even look holy. But beneath it lives one of the deepest diseases Ibn Arabi warns you never to trust. This is the eye that drinks from itself. It does not only look at you, it watches itself being seen by you. That is the difference. It stays calm. It may even seem warm. But behind that calm lives a hidden performance. This gaze is not restless like the seeking eye. It is not unstable like the shaken eye. It is composed, measured, often beautiful, often persuasive. It knows how to hold the face still. It knows how to appear deep, but something feels closed. Why? Because the soul behind this eye is not meeting you. It is curating itself before you. It is quietly asking, how am I landing? Do I look wise? Do I look pure? Do I look rare? Do I look above ordinary people? That question poisons the gaze. Ibn Arabi warns again and again that the nafs, the lower self, can wear noble clothes. It can love religious language. It can imitate humility. It can even enjoy tears. But the eye exposes what the tongue hides. When a person admires their own state, their gaze loses innocence. You may meet this in someone who speaks softly, but always from a high place. You may see it in someone whose eyes linger with strange control, as if they want you to feel their depth. They do not need to praise themselves openly. Their gaze already does it for them. What does this feel like inside? It feels like secret pleasure in being special. The person does not say, I am better. That would sound ugly. They say something cleaner. I am more awake. I am more sincere. I am less worldly. I see what others miss. The soul loves this story. And that is the trap. Pride rarely enters wearing armor. It enters wearing refinement. It enters wearing insight. It enters after pain, after effort, after discipline. A person begins to grow, then starts bowing to the image of their own growth. That is why this eye is dangerous. Not because it shouts, because it hides. The comfortable lie here is this: I am only honoring what God gave me. But the proof is in the gaze. If your eyes subtly ask for recognition, then your soul is still feeding on witness, not God's witness, human witness. You can feel it. After meeting such a person, you do not feel seen. You feel managed. You feel guided toward admiring them. And many people fall for this. A polished gaze can look like peace. A slow gaze can look like depth. A confident gaze can look like certainty. But the soul knows the difference. Your chest often knows before your mind does. The exit from ujub, self-admiration, is painful. The person must see that even their best state can become an idol. They must learn to love truth more than the image of being truthful. They must accept being ordinary before God. Only then does the gaze become clean. A clean eye does not display itself. It forgets itself. When you meet someone whose soul is stuck in ujub, their eyes seem full, but not empty enough for mercy. That is the sign. This is the eye that does not need to defend a false image. It is one of the rarest things you will ever see. A truthful eye is steady without being hard, soft without being weak, present without reaching. It does not chase approval. It does not flee exposure. It does not perform depth. It simply stands where it is. That simplicity has power. Ibn Arabi's way is not about clever reading tricks. It is about seeing which hearts still bend reality and which hearts have started surrendering to it. A truthful eye belongs to a person who has stopped arguing with what is real inside them. They know their weaknesses. They know their mixed motives. They know their needs. But they no longer spend all day editing themselves. That is why their gaze feels clear. The soul is not spending its strength on disguise. What does this feel like inside? It feels like relief. The person no longer carries 10 versions of themselves into every room. They do not ask, which face should I wear here? Their inward and outward life have started coming closer together. This does not make them perfect. In fact, truthful eyes often appear in people who have suffered deeply. They have failed. They have seen their own envy, need, and pride. They have stopped being shocked by themselves. And because they stopped hiding from themselves, they stop hiding from you. That is why being near them feels clean. Their gaze does not stick to your rank. It does not shrink from your pain. It does not inflate when praised. It does not become sly when speaking of God. It rests on you with quiet honesty. Not too much, not too little. Who lives here? Often those who have repented for real, not once, many times. People who have stood before God after seeing something ugly in themselves and said, "This is still me, and I still return." That breaks the back of pretense. The trap here is more subtle than before. Once a person tastes truthfulness, they may start identifying with it too strongly. They may begin to think, "At least I am real, unlike others." And then the old poison returns through a new door. So even sick, truthfulness must stay humble. The exit is continued honesty, not only about sins, about motives, about why you speak. Why do you serve? Why do you want to be close to certain people? Why do some eyes disturb you? Why do some faces excite your ego? Truthfulness must keep digging. A truthful eye gives something precious. It lets you rest. You do not feel hunted. You do not feel measured. You do not feel pushed away. You feel received. That is why the truthful gaze heals. It makes no demand for your false self. It quietly calls your real self forward. But even truthfulness is not the highest station. There is a gaze beyond honesty, a gaze that carries neither pressure nor fear nor display. When you meet it, you feel something most people spend their whole lives searching for and cannot name. This is the eye that has come out of inner war, not fully, not forever, but enough that you can feel the quiet. A resting eye does not hurry toward you and does not pull away from you. It does not ask for anything from the moment. It is present without effort. You feel no push in it, no hidden bargain, no secret trembling, only space. This is why such a gaze is rare. Most eyes are busy. They are fixing, fearing, proving, scanning, performing. Even in love, many eyes are still bargaining. Even in worship, many eyes are still trying to earn an image of themselves. But the resting eye has dropped some of that weight. Ibn Arabi speaks of hearts opening and hearts narrowing. He teaches that when the heart widens, perception changes. The person no longer looks through panic. They no longer look through appetite. They begin to look through sakina, inner stillness. That stillness reaches the eyes. What does it feel like inside this person? It feels like less noise. Thoughts still come. Pain still visits. But the person is no longer enslaved by every movement inside them. Something has settled. Something now watches without drowning. This does not make them passive. It makes them spacious. When they look at you, they do not rush to decide who you are. They leave the room. They do not fill every silence. They do not react to every shift in your face. Their gaze says, I do not need to force this moment. Who lives here? Often people who have suffered, then surrendered. People who stopped trying to control every outcome. People who have learned that not every discomfort must be solved at once. Their soul has tasted trust, and the eyes begin to carry its mark. The trap here is hidden sweetness. A person may love their inner peace so much that they start protecting it from life itself. They avoid hard people. They avoid hard truths. They avoid conflict, correction, and responsibility. Their stillness becomes withdrawal. That is not sukun. That is escape dressed as peace. Real stillness can remain open while standing inside difficulty. It does not need a perfect room, perfect people, or perfect mood. It stays rooted while life moves around it. The comfortable lie says, if I keep my peace, I owe nothing. But true stillness makes you more available, not less. It makes you kinder, not absent. It makes you harder to shake, not harder to... The exit from the trap is service. A resting soul must return to people without losing its center. It must stay soft when provoked. It must stay honest when loved. It must stay simple when admired. A resting eye gives you one gift above all. You do not feel managed in its presence. You feel allowed to breathe. And yet there is still a higher sign. Because peace can exist without love. Calm can exist without warmth. A person can be settled and still not radiate mercy. The final gaze is not only quiet, it gives shelter. This is the eye that sees your weakness without feeding on it. When this gaze falls on you, you do not feel exposed. You feel covered, not hidden from truth, but held inside it. A merciful eye is one of the clearest signs of a refined soul. It does not deny what is broken in you. It sees it, but it does not turn your wound into power over you. It does not enjoy knowing more than you wanted to show. It does not turn insight into superiority. That matters more than most people know. Many people can notice your pain. Few can notice it without using it. Ibn Arabi's path is rooted in adab, sacred courtesy before God and creation. The one who sees truly must also see gently. If vision grows but mercy does not, the soul has become sharp but not clean. What does this feel like inside the merciful person? It feels like freedom from the urge to dominate. They do not need to win the moment. They do not need to expose every flaw they detect. They are not excited by being right about people. Their knowledge bows. So their eyes become kind in a very serious way. Not soft from weakness, soft from strength under control. Who lives here? Those who have let God deal with them deeply. People who know how ugly the self can be and how patient mercy still was with them. Because they were not destroyed by truth, they stop using truth like a knife. You see it in how they look at failure. They do not flinch from it. They do not mock it. They do not make it the whole story. Their gaze leaves room for return. This is why some people make you confess without pressure. Their eyes do not force you open. They make hiding feel unnecessary. But there is a trap even here. A person may begin to enjoy being the safe one, the wise one, the one others open up to. Mercy can become identity. Tenderness can become theater. The soul may begin saying, I am here to heal others, while quietly feeding on being needed. Then the gaze changes again. It still looks kind, but now it subtly collects dependency. It likes being central. It likes being the calm place everyone returns to. That is not rahmah, mercy. That is ego wearing a healer's cloak. The exit is to remember that mercy is not yours. It passes through you. It does not belong to you. The more a person knows this, the lighter their gaze becomes. They help without owning. They care without claiming. They see without talking. And now the system is complete. The seeking eye grabs. The shaken eye flinches. The self-admiring eye performs. The truthful eye stands. The resting eye breathes. The merciful eye shelters. This is the map, and here is the deeper truth. You are not only meant to use this map on others, you are meant to turn it on yourself. Because the eye you fear meeting in someone else may already live in your own face. Before you ever read another soul, you must ask one harder question. What do your own eyes do when nobody is watching you manage them? That is where the next door opens. The person you want to become does not have a dramatic gaze. That is the first surprise. You expect fire. You expect intensity. You expect some rare spiritual look that makes rooms fall silent. But the soul Ibn Arabi points toward often appears more ordinary than that. Their eyes do not try to enter you. They do not ask to be decoded. They do not announce purity. They do not scatter from shame. They do not freeze to protect an image. They rest where they are, and because they rest, you rest. This person has a presence without pressure. When they look at you, they are not busy deciding your value. They are not checking how you rank, what you can offer, or how much of themselves to hide. They are there. Fully there. That fullness feels rare. Because so many people now live in fragments. They do not stare for effect. They do not perform gentleness. They do not borrow spiritual language to sound deep. Their eyes carry adab, sacred courtesy. You feel that they know the soul is not a toy, not a target, not a trophy. They can see weakness and stay soft. They can see vanity and not become cruel. They can see grief and not become invasive. They can see beauty and not become greedy. This is magnetic because it is clean, and that cleanliness does not come from temperament alone. It comes from being worked on by truth. Such a person has sat with their own envy. They have seen their own need for praise. They have watched how fear changes their face. They have faced their appetite to control how others see them. And instead of building a more polished self, they kept returning to God until the performance grew tired. That is why their gaze has weight without heaviness. You trust them because they do not seem hungry. You listen because they do not seem eager to occupy your space. You feel safe because they do not appear curious in a predatory way. Their seeing feels clean enough that you stop bracing against it. This is the aspiration figure. Not the one with the most intense eyes, the one whose eyes no longer need to take, hide, impress, or defend. Now hold the mirror up. Do not answer these quickly. Let each one touch you. When you meet someone new, do your eyes first seek what they can give you? Not only money or help. Praise, approval, access, comfort, attraction, importance. When someone looks at you with real attention, do your eyes stay present, or do they flee because being seen feels unsafe? Do you ever hold your gaze in a careful way so people will read you as deep, calm, wise, holy, or different? When you speak about your pain, your faith, or your growth, do your eyes become subtly self-aware, as if part of you is watching yourself perform sincerity? Do your eyes become sharp when someone has what you want? More beauty, more ease, more love, more spiritual language, more confidence in a room. When you are ashamed, do your eyes close the door not only to people, but to God? Do you hide inwardly and call it dignity? Can your eyes stay soft when someone weaker than you fails in front of you? Or do you feel a hidden rise inside, a small pleasure that you are not the one exposed? When you pray, are your eyes restless because your heart is elsewhere, or quiet because your heart has started to arrive? Do people feel eased by your gaze, or do they tighten around it? This question matters. Your eye does not only reveal your state, it affects the states of others. And here is the hardest sign of all. After you leave a room, do people feel more human or more handled? That one question can uncover years of self-deception. Because the eye is not neutral. The gaze is an action. It either makes room for souls or it presses on them. It either gives safety or it creates tension. It either reflects your inner truth or it exposes your inner disorder. Do not be ashamed if the answer hurts. Recognition is mercy. The moment you see your own gaze clearly, something breaks. Not your worth, your illusion. And losing illusion is the start of freedom. Many people never change because they never let the mirror stay in place long enough. So keep it there. If you notice seeking, do not excuse it. If you notice fear, do not romanticize it. If you notice self-display, do not perfume it with noble words. Name it plainly. That plainness is the beginning of siddiq, truthfulness. And truthfulness is the first cleansing of the eye. But a mirror alone cannot heal you. You now know the map. You know the signs. You know the questions. The next step is harder because it asks you to practice. Not someday. Not when life slows down. Tonight. This week. In actual rooms with actual faces, while your old habits still live in you. That is where the real reading begins. The first practice is muhasabah, honest self-watching. Tonight, stand before a mirror for 1 minute in silence. Do not fix your face. Do not prepare an expression. Just let your eyes rest as they are. Then ask one question. What is my gaze trying to get from the world these days? Do not answer fast. Maybe it wants praise. Maybe it wants safety. Maybe it wants to be admired for being wounded. Maybe it wants to avoid being known. Maybe it wants control. Maybe it wants to be seen as good without doing the hard work of becoming good. Whatever appears, name it without drama. This is not self-hatred. This is cleaning. For 7 days, repeat this at night. Same mirror, same silence. One honest question. Over time, you will notice that the eye changes when the lie is no longer protected. The second practice is hifz al-nazar, guarding the gaze. All week, when someone speaks to you, do one simple thing. Stop trying to get anything from the moment. Do not try to impress. Do not try to manage their opinion. Do not try to read how you are landing. Just receive them. This will feel harder than it sounds. You will catch your eyes reaching, hiding, arranging, comparing. Good. That means you are seeing the machine. Each time you catch it, soften your face and return. Not to passivity, to presence. Try this with 3 kinds of people. Someone above you, someone below you, someone who can give you nothing. Your eyes will not behave the same with all 3. That difference will teach you more about your soul than many books. The third practice is muraqabah, watchfulness before God. Sit alone for 5 minutes after Isha or before sleep. Lower the noise around you. Breathe slowly. Then say in your heart, Allah sees me before I see anyone else. Stay with that. Do not force feelings. Do not chase tears. Let the sentence work on you. If God sees you fully, then you no longer need to squeeze worth from human eyes. If God knows you fully, then you no longer need to panic when people partially know you. If God covers you daily, then you can stop using your gaze like a weapon or shield. This practice does something quiet but deep. It moves the center of your vision, less from people, more from God. And when that shift begins, the eyes become simpler. You may also add one living discipline this week. When you look at someone, make a silent dua for them before you judge them. Even one line is enough. O Allah, be gentle with them. O Allah, give them light. O Allah, ease what I cannot see. Mercy enters the gaze faster when prayer enters the heart. None of these practices are dramatic. That is why they work. Ibn Arabi's path is not built on spectacle. It is built on refinement. 1,000 tiny straightenings, 1,000 returns, 1,000 moments where you stop protecting a false self and let God deal with the real one. And now, the deeper close. You did not come here only to learn how to read people. If that is all you take, the teaching becomes dangerous. You will become clever with others and blind to yourself. You will use the language of souls to protect your ego. That would be a failure. The real gift is more serious. To clean the eye is to clean the way you move through creation. Because every gaze carries ethics. Every look says something. It says, you are prey, or you are a threat, or you are useful, or you are beneath me, or you are safe here, or you are seen by God, so I will not violate your secret. That is not small. The eye can commit harm before the tongue speaks. It can dishonor before the hand acts. It can be reduced before a word is said. But it can also be an honor. It can be a shelter. It can make a wounded person feel that the world has not fully hardened. So the work is bigger than insight. It is adab before souls. When your gaze becomes truthful, people feel less pressure around you. When it becomes restful, people breathe around you. When it becomes merciful, people remember that God did not create them to live as hunted things. That is moral weight, and this is why the teaching matters now more than ever. Many people today know how to look without seeing and stare without caring. Eyes have become crowded with appetite, crowded with self-display, crowded with fear. The soul feels this everywhere, even when nobody names it. Be one of the people whose gaze relieves that burden, not by acting soft, by becoming clean. Let your eyes stop collecting. Let them stop performing. Let them stop hiding behind polish, pain, or spiritual style. Let them become a place where truth and mercy meet. Because when the gaze changes, the whole way you stand among human beings begins to change. And that is not only about you. A cleaner gaze means cleaner homes, cleaner friendships, cleaner prayer, cleaner love, cleaner leadership, cleaner repentance. One soul that stops feeding on others gives rest to many souls around it. So begin there, not with grand claims, not with dramatic signs, with the next face you meet, with the next moment your eyes want to grab, flee, or display. Catch them, return them, offer a cleaner look. That 1 second may reveal a soul. But it can also begin the repair of one. When you look at people, what do you catch most often in your own eyes? Hunger, fear, performance, truth, peace, or mercy? Write it honestly below. One word is enough.